I hope I hope this is going to work better. I'm going to try this one more time. So everybody hang in there with me, okay? I'm so sorry. This is insanity. Okay. I am trying right now to let the group know. I might have somehow. Okay, let me see if I can make this work. I might have somehow gotten on the wrong. Okay, I now know I'm on the right channel. Oh, it says 4 people are in, but I can't see the chat. Has anyone said hello? Well, no, I can't even see it to do it myself. Ah, okay, I can do a pop-out chat, but that seems to be the only kind. Is this frustrating or what? What is going on? Hello, everyone. Oh, Christine O'Brien. Hello, hon. There is Sandra, all the way from, oh, and are you in Santos de Cruz? But, because normally she is from the Netherlands. This, I almost gave up. I was this close to giving up. And I said, come on, Deb, keep trying. I'm a tough old girl. I gotta keep going. My peeps are waiting. So anyway, let me get this set up. This is tricky, guys, because for whatever reason, I could only get the chat to come up as a pop-out chat, as a separate chat. So it makes it real hard for me to see you and what I'm doing, but we're going to try. Hello, Laura. Hello, Sonia. Hi, sweetheart. I'm so sorry this happened. It was so frustrating. And sometimes I forget I was trying so hard to fix it so we could have our time together. And then I realized, they don't know what's going on. Quickly tell them what's happening so they don't get frustrated at, like, where are you? So I am so sorry. The only thing I can think that's happening is somehow I have 2 YouTube personas. One is for my family, for us to share private little things. And Mark said, you need to get rid of that because it's messing you up. But then I want to wait to be able to share videos with just my family. Well, it might have been what happened today. I don't know how and why. I am so sorry. So, there you go. I love that, Sandra. Oh, that is wonderful. Now, I tend to, your current last name, I tend to want to say Duma, but I have a feeling I'm saying it all wrong. Is there any way for you to be able to tell me how to pronounce it correctly? Because that's one thing. I try very hard. I want to use your correct pronunciation. Hello, everyone. Oh, and Bonnie came back. Yeah, hey, I can see Miss Bonnie. It was terrible. I couldn't get your chat or anything. And as it is right now, I just have a pop-out chat. So I have this big chat thing kind of on the screen, and it's tricky. And I don't think we're going to have Susan today. She is busy. But if you want to get my attention and tell me something, type in all caps because I tend to be able to spot that a little easier. That's one of the things I hate. I try to watch the live streams later because I miss a lot. And sometimes you ask me questions or say things, and I feel terrible that I can't quite, keep up with everything that's going on. And would be Dama. Am I saying it right? Dama. So Sandra Dama. I love that. I love learning new names and the right pronunciations. And This is wonderful. So good to see you. And there's Patricia from, and there's Linda is here. Yay, Linda. Thank you so much. So it is good to see you. I apologize for all the mix up. I almost started to say, we'll do it tonight. And then I thought, well, let me try one more time because you know what? I don't want to inconvenience you guys. So y'all mean the world to me. And are we excited that Miss Bonnie is here? I am so thrilled to see Miss Bonnie. So, and just so you know, when I was trying to brush this mess today, I've almost got a little mullet thing going on. I was going to tell you the big exciting news next week will be I'll have my first professional haircut that I've had in 14, 15 months. So it'll be interesting to see. Now, I'm expecting to look at least 10 years younger and much more slender and everything after I have a professional haircut. Maybe I'm putting too much pressure on that poor gal. I'm so excited that I'm going to, it had been 2 weeks Tuesday since my last vaccination, so I can get out there and create a ruckus. So that is pretty good. Yeah, I'm tired of cutting my own hair. I started to want to do it. I mean, it's a shapeless mess with this stuff hanging. And I know Mark would like me to have a professional haircut done. There have been times I cut it myself. And he's like, I bet you could get an appointment. And that's his little way of saying, that looks like crap. So anyway, let's see what I've got. I've got so much going on today. It is spring. And people like Miss Nadine, she's been working really hard. And all of us, we're spring and it's so many things to do. And can I kvetch for a moment? We went to pick up the camper. We had to have new tires put on it. Well, that was traumatic in of itself. But when we were driving it home, I drove him over there and he's going to drive the camper home. We got about 17 miles down the road and he kept trying to call me. Finally, all I could hear was, the front end is shaking really badly. I thought, oh my God. So I knew I had to find an exit, get over, get us off the road. And we spent a lot. It was 6 tires to put on that thing and they're truck-sized tires. Well, I told him when I passed you on the driver's side rear, the tire was kind of going like this. He said, it's not supposed to go like that. I said, well, I didn't know. I know it's a double axle. I didn't know. Hello, Rhonda, Robin Boyd. I don't know why I started to call you Rhonda, but hello, Rhonda, Robin. I did it again. So we had to turn around, find a way to get back on the interstate, going the other way to go and take this thing back. And I'm thinking, is that tire going to fall off? What's going to happen? And we did manage to get it back. And he told him, look, I took an hour and a half off of work today to be able to come get this. I don't know what's wrong with it, but y'all got to fix it. Hi, Jamie. And then somebody's going to have to stay late for us to come back and get it. So that was the one thing. Well, then the air conditioning's been acting up because we had 87 degrees the other day. What? We had a freeze a week before that, and then it's 87. Crazy. And so I had to call the heating and air guy and say, hey, can you schedule us for a check because the air conditioner is acting up. So he's going to come out Monday. You know. And then we went a couple weeks ago, my back right tire was making a real bad sound. Mark went and looked at it and said, your brakes are gone. Your brake pads were totally worn away. So he put the new brake pads on. We thought, good, that's fixed. Well, yesterday we went to the plant nursery to get some spring flowers, came back home, and I mean, we smelled this smell. I said, oh my God, that's terrible. Thank goodness. Oh, I know, Kathleen, let me tell you. And if we hadn't have been emptying the plants out of the back of the car, we wouldn't have smelled that smell. And he went over to that same tire where he had fixed the brakes. The rest of the brakes on the car were fine, but just that one, I mean, it was worn out. He went over and he said, that tire is fiery hot. It's just radiating. He said, I bet you that brake is stuck. So the whole time we're driving, the brake on that tire is on and we're having to drive against that pressure. So then he came in, he started reading about it. He said, we're going to have to take this to the garage. I don't know what's wrong with it. I don't know if it's a brake caliper. I just don't know. So I'm on the computer thinking about these tires. I just spent money on plants. It's one thing after another, just like Kathleen said. So I bring up, okay, well, how much would it cost to replace a brake caliper on a wheel? The estimates were from $700 to $1,400. I was like, hon. And I said, oh my God. He said, I'm going to YouTube. God bless YouTube. Let me tell you, thank goodness. I mean, it's nice for quilting and stuff, but we've learned how to do home repairs, car repairs, you name it, on YouTube. He went on YouTube and he said, I got to start looking at this. And he found he could buy a new brake caliper for $100. So why are they charging so much for it? But then the going rate for labor is like $125 an hour. And it's one of those jobs they can charge you on. I mean, I'm sure they have a business to run, but it's one of those things that people are usually a little afraid to do for themselves, and it's expensive. And I've always heard brake jobs are expensive. So, yeah, thank you. But the good news is, this story ends on a good note. Mark watched some YouTube videos. I was reading on them. He went out there today, and he took that tire back off. And he was nervous. I mean, it's scary because there's so many things you could get wrong. And you've got to jack this up on the driveway. And, he got it off and he noticed that he really was checking out the brakes and the caliper and everything. Yeah, it's the truth, Charlene. You can learn everything. It's like having the world's best library right in your electronic device. I love this new age. Scares some people, but I think it's grand. And because I always loved libraries, and now I can be in the library at 3 a.m. But he went out there, to make a long story short, there's these pins that are supposed to be able to come in. Whoever did, long before we bought this, whoever did the last brake job on the car installed the thing crooked so that it wasn't allowing one of these pins to be able to engage. So this car has had this problem for 4 years. And luckily during the pandemic, we didn't drive it much, thank goodness, because it would have been tougher. So Mark, being the hero he is, fixed it. And he fixed it for nothing. He had already put the new brake pads on, and he was able to fix it today and had to really bang on it and adjust it. And he said the moment he got that piece in place correctly, it worked perfectly. And he put the brake pedal and blocked it on with a piece of wood, and so it would be like the car was braking and the tire wouldn't move. And then he'd take the piece of wood out and go back and check, and the tire would roll beautifully. And he checked it a couple times because if he'd have been a Boy Scout, he'd have been an Eagle Scout 3 times over. Okay, and he does something right. But anyway, he's out now for his motorcycle ride, and I wasn't dare going to bother him and say, Mark, the computer's acting up, because that man deserves that motorcycle ride. Let me tell you, he's only ridden it twice, 3 times in the last 6 months. So go out there and have a little fun. So anyway, hello. That's our big story lately. And hopefully tomorrow when the air conditioning man comes out, he just needs to recharge the system and it'll be okay and it'll live a little bit longer. You know, when you're in a house and you know your roof's it's showing its age, and then you know that air conditioning system is getting right old, and it's like you kind of live on borrowed time. And but the good news is, and Miss Bonnie, you're going to want to hear this. The good news is I figured out my Medicare stuff, and that is such a huge relief for me. And Miss Bonnie, in your state, every state has what's called a SHIP program, SHIP, and that's a state health insurance program or something. But what they do is they staff it with nonpartisan people who are very, very expert and can guide you. I told her my age, my health concerns, what I've had currently, what I'm afraid of, the questions I had. Oh my God, she knew everything. She knew everything because I had read all the books and read all the pamphlets and was kind of I was definitely deer in the headlights, you know, it was like, woo, but it was wonderful. And because, you know, I mean, I just had a kidney removed 6 months ago. Hello. And so it's like, do I want Medicare Advantage? Do I want a Medigap? And she was like, you definitely want a Medigap. And because if you have any risk of higher medical costs, and because, you know, one thing you have to know is Medicare has big deductibles and big co-insurance. So you need to look at all of it, you know, and don't just be wowed by this has this. And just to help you know, yes, they take out 148 from your Social Security, but if you have any income issues, any of you ladies, find out and they'll help you with that too, because there are programs so that you don't have to pay for expensive things if money is an issue. And let me tell you what, it is with most of us. But I've gotten it all straight now. I'm really relieved. I got a great prescription plan. She put all my information into the computer and it popped up exactly which one was the best for me. And the funniest thing is, you would think the most expensive prescription plan, Part D plan, is the best. No, it depends on what your medications are and what part of that they cover. What is your copay? What is there a deductible on it? And some of the prescription plans showed 400 and something for deductible. She said on the one I got, the deductible just means if it's an expensive drug that is not one of their preferred drugs. Well, since my doctor is good about giving me generics, I should have very little out-of-pocket costs. So my metformin was one. She had to look for a plan because some of the metformins, you know, some of the diabetic drugs, some of the companies get a little wacko about. But the good news is, and this is important, Miss Bonnie, the good news is this. Make sure you get the right plan for the right time in your life, because some plans you can't go back and get later. And they cannot cancel me or deny me because I'm in the coverage window, which you are well in. You've got plenty of time to make this decision. And, oh, gotcha. Yeah, and check with that state, your state health insurance something, SHIP. And it was on the back of my federal booklet. It said for North Carolina, because every state is different. So let me tell you, the health insurance I was on this past year, my kidney surgery, all the tests, my 4 days in the hospital, my medical bills what I had to pay were over $5,000. She said, if you had had Medicare and this Medigap, you'd have hardly paid a thing. So that's why, when the ex was like, you've got to go on Medicare, I don't want to keep paying this health insurance. What I looked at, I thought if I choose right, I'll end up in a better place. So that's what I'm doing. And I just wanted to make sure to tell Miss Bonnie, because anybody that's getting ready, to reach that magic age, I told the gal, I said, I don't care about being 65. I just care about getting this Medicare stuff straight. So, but she was wonderful. What an angel. And so now I'm all set up I just have to decide dental insurance. And I'm trying to go around and around about that. And so I'll figure it out. So Illinois is primary now, but I gotcha. That's where it would really help you to go to that SHIP program. She'll be able to negotiate all that for you. Because see, I was on a federal FEHB, Federal Employees Health Benefits. So I was under my ex's, because he was a federal employee, I was under that umbrella. And she was she understood all of it and helped me work through. And I told her, I said, soon as you started telling me, we can figure it out, we'll get you set up just right. I almost started crying, because I had all these people showing up at the door, calling on the phone, sending me mail, join us. I'm an insurance agent with so-and-so. No. And she said, you got to be careful because some of the companies will try to sell you all kinds of stuff. You don't want it or need it. So get that state agency. They're nonpartisan, non-biased, and they just give you the best information. So and you know what, Bonnie? It's going to feel so good. You learn the best you can, then talk to them, and then you'll be set up. I that night, I just kept sitting there going, thank God. I had been feeling like the weight of the world was on my shoulders. I thought, if you make a bad decision, you could go bankrupt. So anyway, but they'll help you, Miss Bonnie. I just wanted to let you know that good news. And they'll know. They deal with this stuff all the time. People changing locations, having certain working conditions. I say, I gotcha. Yeah, and you know what? And they'll help you work through all of that. And that is wonderful. Because, I'm sorry, but this stuff is important. When we reach a certain age, finances are critical. So I thought you'd want to know this. So it's just take really good care of yourself. What you don't want to do is be this age and feel afraid to get medical care because of the cost. So, you'll be fine. So I just thought I'd tell you. As soon as I knew, I thought, I've got good news for Bonnie. So she'll be able to work through this too, because it's scary. Trying to figure it out by yourself is scary. I even went online at Medicare.gov and called Medicare.gov, but she said you really need to go to the SHIP program of the state where you're living now, and they'll help you work all the way through it, and they did. So you'll be fine, Miss Bonnie girl. All right, so what I'm doing now is I thought I would start us out. Remember I said with my, I might end up being a little bit all over the place, but I'll try to pull myself together. Okay, so I've got, on Thursday night, we're working on this, and I've got good news to tell you about that. And then we're working on this, which is the mosaic koi. And I've got the neatest thing. Miss Betty worked on hers, and it was really beautiful. And she told me today how she did it. So when I show you her photo, she did not use fabric. She did not use fusible. She did not use iron. She did not have to sew. How did she do it? I've got the word. I've got the good. And for some of you, you're going to love this because it means you'll jump right in and work on it. So be hanging around for that. Oh, that's tough. Yeah, check it all out. And every year you have an open season where you can review plans. You can call them during your open season. Let them help you because they have all the information at their fingertips. And by the way she entered my information in, I could tell that there must have been a computer program that took all my prescription names and doses and all that. She even asked, this is what I was afraid of too. I go to CVS for my prescriptions. All of a sudden I thought, oh no, am I going to have to do a mail-in program or what? She found a plan for only $17 a month. I mean, can you believe it? And I can go right back to my CVS. I don't have to panic and order weeks in advance and hope the mail gets through. It's taken care of. So I'm so happy. So definitely use the SHIP program in every state. Every single one has it. Hi, Kathy Klein. It is so good to see you. Oh, let me tell you, Miss Patricia, Canada and England, are you kidding? I think it's wonderful that there are national health care plans because you know what? There is so much money being wasted in this country between insurance companies and all this garbage. And people shouldn't have to decide between taking their medicines and eating. Okay? So I agree with you, Miss Patricia. Hopefully we're going to be heading that way ourselves because it's gotten ridiculous, So anyway, here is the dragonfly I had started a while ago, and I've got it in a hoop. And you notice how I've got it flat with the bottom here, okay? Because the only way to work on it on the sewing machine is if this rides right on the bed of the sewing machine. But I put it the side I'm going to sew sticking up. Okay, so that kind of looks weird. Then you kind of think, what? But this is the way you do it. Now, I had already cut it out on a tiny, small piece of the soluble. So what I did is cut the bigger piece of soluble that I knew would fit this ring, because I had another ring, but it wasn't big enough to let me to move, get the needle and move it around for it. So what I did is cut a bigger piece of soluble, took my water glass and dipped my fingers in and got them wet and went all around the wrong side of this edge and used water to glue it down to the bigger piece of solving or your whatever water-soluble stabilizer. Okay, so this is good anyway because I've got 2 layers now of the stabilizer. So now let me show you 15% sales tax. You pay for it, but you don't have to worry that one surgery is going to bankrupt you. And that's the nicest part. Yeah, you have to pay. Of course, somebody has to pay. I do understand that. But you know what? Our tax on groceries is 6 point something. Uh-oh. Hold on. Okay. Sorry, I must have touched something funny. I'm trying to get this down here. All right, this is the trickiest part about doing this, is getting you have to get your presser foot, well, I'll take this off, and get that presser foot up high enough to get your hoop under it. Then you can put your presser foot back down. And one thing I'm going to try, I took a great class and a great lecture this week, and I'm going to try to put a free motion foot on here because it would help me see what I'm doing better when I start doing some of this thread painting stuff. So, okay, now let me see if this light would improve things. So what I've got is some gold metallic thread in here. Let me try to thread this needle. I'm not sure. Let me see. I don't know if my needle threader would work, but it's worth a try. It worked! Yay! All right, so I've got this. I've got a gold metallic thread in the top. I think I really will because it'll really help me see. Thank you. I think you're right. Now, I've got the gold metallic thread and I've got a pale gray thread in the bobbin. Okay. Oh, and Patricia has a new machine. Yay, Patricia. I love it. Yes, I had a lecture. Okay, let me tell you about my classes. I took a Bonnie Langenfeld class on Wednesday, and I'm learning. You know what I'm learning? If you want to use metallic threads, just go slowly. You know, I used to have to do everything so fast, and now I'm learning. No, take the time and relax and enjoy the process, because if you go too fast, your metallic thread will break. And the time it takes trying to rethread it is just not worth it. But anyway, so on this Solvay, I've got some purple netting for color, and I've got some a rougher, coarser purple netting, and then like a shiny crystal tulle on top of the purple netting. And then I'm going to take different colors of metallic or translucent threads and stitch on top. But there's one thing I should have brought down. Let me see. Yes. Look at this. What this is Angelina fibers that I took and laid down on one of the Teflon pressing cloths. And then I put the Angelina fibers on there and then ironed it. And it becomes like its own gossamer fabric. How you like that word? And then what I'm going to do is lay this on the top of that, okay? And then now I'll come and I'll stitch it down. And between all of this, I should have something that's relatively translucent, but has that shimmer of the dragonfly wings. Because that's the trick. We all love dragonflies, but how do you get that iridescence, that translucence that just makes it so spectacular? And I couldn't decide whether to use like a blue metallic, and I laid the gold metallic on, and it seemed to kind of disappear but leave a sheen behind, a shine. And okay, now one thing to remember and this Thursday night during our class, I'm going to actually make a butterfly again. For anybody who would like, I want to make one of my thread painted lace butterflies for my garden gate quilt. This one's going to be for the mosaic quilt. And I'm going to show you how to have this 3D. So it's going to look like it's going to have shape and substance and look like it's landing on the pink, on the pink flowers of the water lily. So what I'm going to do, I've gotten it sewn down pretty well, and I don't have to do as much squiggly thread work because I have fabric that's attached to this, but the dragonflies have lots of little veins in their leaves. In their wings, leaves. It looks like a leaf. So I'm just going to kind of go and do some diagonal lines to kind of see how I'm just kind of gently. Now I've got my feed dogs down, but I learned this week from Miss Bonnie Langenfeld to put my feed dogs down and be brave. And I was very brave. So I've got our practice things to show you for that. And then I had a lecture. This was all with the Mancuso Spring Show that was supposed to be held in Greenville, South Carolina, but we'll be there next year, and I'll be there. But anyway, I had a lecture with Miss Susan Brubaker Knapp, and on Friday night, oh my God, this is looking so good. I can't wait to show you. Oh my gosh, it looks so good. Okay, let me get this on the other side. Let me sew down some of this underlayment real quick first. But this is going to be amazing. And if you have any kind of stabilizer, now let's say you don't have water soluble stabilizer. If you have any interfacing or anything, even you could do it on fabric, do the best job you can. You might not have it translucent, but you can cut away as much of the fabric or interfacing later as you can. So don't let the fact that you don't have the water soluble stuff, don't let that stop you, because you are going to be very impressed with this. All right, let me cut a piece of this. And like I say, I'll show you in a moment a little bit more about how I make this, but let me see if you look at that. Doesn't that look like a dragonfly's wing? So now here I go, put this on here. Let me get this stitched. I'm stitching around the outside shape so I know that this Angelina will be, and this is something you can use in any art quilting. This Angelina fiber, you can use it for water, you can use it for waterfalls, you can use it for sunsets, anywhere you want a shine or a sheen on something you're making. So now I've gotten it sewn around the edge. Then I'm going to go back and forth with the veining like this. Because if you've ever looked, when they hatch out of their little pupa stage, these veins pump up their wings because their wings are all like folded and soft and very tiny. And these veins pump up their wings so then they can fly. Takes them a while to be able to fly when they first come out. All right? So now I'll cut that thread. Let me come over to this one. I'm almost done. I'll take it off and show you what I've got. Okay? Making sure I do all the up and down veins, not going too fast. All right, now I'm going to do the little diagonal veining like this. Come over here and do it like this. All right. Now, there is one thing I haven't done yet, and that was to make the antenna. But I really want to cut this out and show you. Hold on just 1 second, please, guys. All right. I think I can do this pretty quick. I don't want you getting terribly bored because I've got a reveal you're not going to believe. I'm so thrilled with it. Okay. It's so funny. When I first did this to do a quick demo for y'all a few months ago, I forgot about the Angelina fabric, putting it on, and I kind of just tossed it in a drawer and probably would never have picked it back up, except I thought, no, I want something like this for my mosaic. Now I'm putting my machine on a zigzag stitch, and I'm going to put it down to about 2.2, something like that, 2.4. Then I'm going to put it real, I want to do the stitches real close together because I'm kind of going to make like a satin stitch. in a way. Okay, so I'm gonna come around like this, then go down here, and this is gonna be one of the antenna. Okay. All right, now cut that loose. See how I don't know if you see how I did the antenna? And don't worry, I'm not done yet. I'll show you why. Now come over this side and do a little curly Q on the bottom, and then bring that up. Now, you would think that I would just go do it backwards. To go back up, I want to give it another pass. But nope, I don't want to go backwards because I can't see good enough that way, and I don't want to mess it up. It's got to be right on top. Whoops. Now this is where it gets tricky because the thread kind of builds up and wants to kind of get gummed up in the machine. And you have to make sure you've attached it firmly to the head. Okay? See, I've made sure that I went over top the head. Now let me come back to this one and do this curly Q. And so you want to do at least 2 passes. Now, if you try to do 3, I can tell you right now, I can tell that if I tried to do 3, it would get a knob underneath the machine. Oops, I didn't even stay on the line. So let me come up here and touch back over there. Let me get back over to this line, the main line. Got to pick one of them. All right, so here we are. Now, whoops, let me get off. I love when the pressure feet can kind of just easily come off. All right, now, can you see the veining in the wings? They are amazing. Oops, I didn't finish doing all of this. Hold on. I've got to do this now because if I don't, once I cut it loose, I cannot change it. You cannot add or take away unless you glue it back down to another piece of this water-soluble. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't quite do enough in this one. Whoops, I'm on the wrong thread. Oops. Well, I hate to rethread it. So I'm going to go ahead, let me go ahead and take this out and show you, and then I'll find a way to do this wing. I can always do it by hand. But, yeah, I didn't want to sew over the wing with black thread. That wouldn't work. Wouldn't it be nice to have a machine that just does all this for you? I'll change your thread. All right. Now, let me show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take it out of the hoop. Okay. I hadn't cut the bobbin thread, so it was going to come out with me. All right. Now, this is what it looks like right now. It's a little bit messy, but what you're going to do is you're then going to cut away the excess soluble. And I hope you're not getting bored, but I just thought, sometimes I think, you know what, if I go over some of this, then when you ever think of doing it, you might remember it more, be more likely to remember it. And I don't think, I might have seen someone do something like this along the way, but most of this is just stuff I've learned on my own. And because I just jump in with both feet and try it. You know, I feel like all I might have lost is a little bit of time and a little tiny bit of material. And so now I'm just cutting off the excess soluble. And I'm not being careful to take off too much around the antenna because they need all the stiffening they can get, okay? So I just cut all around here. See how the wings are freed up? And then, okay. Now where I think I'm going to leave it. I'm just going to make a little nip up there, but cut through where I did that extra. But I'm not going to cut too much away from it right now because the one problem I had with my butterflies is those little antennae, once you rinse it out, they kind of get droopy, floppy. And so what I found is if that happens, then take and thin some regular white glue, school glue, thin it with some water, brush it on, and you might have to do a couple layers of it, and then let it dry in between, do another layer, let it dry in between. And I'm going to have to do that for this guy's tail because he's got a long, skinny tail. So I'm going to have to go back and touch up this bottom. I think the two bottom, no, this is the only wing that I really didn't do a very good job at. Now, I'm not going to be able to wet this and show you how to wash it off this week because I want to finish that wing. See how I did the more veining and stitching on these? I want to go back and do that. And this one layer of this Solvay is trying to come off the tail, but I'm kind of going to leave it there. When I go to wash it out, I'm going to make sure some of that Solvay gets in the tail. So I'll finish up my one wing that I didn't do a good enough job on. And then I'm going to wash it in just some cool, tepid, room temperature, slightly warm, whatever, water. And then I will only wash out half of it. And the other half, I'm going to leave in. And then that way I can like bend and mold the wings to look like it's really flying. Maybe I'll have them one of them slightly up, like this. And the antenna, I can move those around, and the tail. And that is going to be a great, and it's going to look prettier once the Solvay is gone, because then you'll see the translucence. Let me see. Can you see the translucence here? So that's going to be fun. And you don't have to use the netting. I did just to give it a little extra color. Let me move this off the body so you can see the body better. I had done the body before, and that's just I took the body color I wanted thread, which was a nice cobalt blue, and then I just did a zigzag stitch. And as I'm stitching, I'm pushing up or down the width to get it to come out, to get skinnier. So I can't wait for you to see what this is going to look like once I've rinsed it out. So, and even though I cut it out, you make sure you don't cut it out until everything is just like you like it. Because what I'm going to have to do to get that one wing, I'm going to have to try to wet it a little and glue it on another bigger piece of water-soluble stabilizer so I can finish up that wing. But I just wanted to cut it out and to kind of show you how cool that is. So I think it's going to be a good one. And we'll see if it's translucent enough. And that's what I was going for. If you wanted to, you could try to just use the Angelina fibers. But let me show you something real quick if I can find my ironing sheet. Well, I'm not, okay. Let's just pretend this is the ironing sheet. Okay, you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the Teflon or silicone ironing sheets that you use with fusibles. So you would lay your Angelina fibers. You would lay your Angelina fibers on the sheet, then fold it over, and then press. And what happens is all the little fibers melt to themselves. Now, some people have been confused by the Angelina fibers because they think that it will melt to fabric. It doesn't. It only melts to itself. So you can make these sheets, cut it out, and then stitch it down, which is what I did on the Dragonfly. Okay, let me put this away real quick. I'll be right back. All right, I think I told y'all. Let me see how everybody's doing. Can one, they better be careful with the koi fish. The koi fish will eat them. So, and you know what? I might have to make a frog that lives in there. What do you think? Mylar. Yeah. Yeah, you can do. It's amazing. The one thing I love about quilting now is, y'all sweeties. The one thing I love about quilting is the sky's the limit. You can use whatever supplies you want, whatever creative materials you want. You can do it all. You can use paints. You can use markers. That's the beauty. It's like, oh, I wanted to show you too. I put up my watermelon quilt. I'm sorry, getting the way we had to get going today, it kind of threw me off. But remember, I told you I would put the watermelon quilt up. This is the pattern that's by Jill Lilly. She's out of Utah, lovely woman. And Jill Lilly Fabrics and Patterns. And that, I think that is the cutest thing. And I couldn't find 45 or whatever watermelon buttons. So I took my polymer clay and I made a bunch of little watermelon shaped seeds. It's supposed to be the watermelon seeds. And I made the watermelon shaped seeds and then poked 2 holes in them, baked them, and then sewed them on there. So you will see the watermelon seed buttons I made to put on the quilt. But Jill Lilly has that pattern, and I think it is just as sweet as it can be. I love it. I love it. So, okay. And then, of course, we're going to still talk about the binding tool. But I have something I wanted to show you. I've got lots to show you. Okay. I think I told you a couple weeks ago that dear Miss Jenny Beyer had a sale. Now, why I always talk with a Southern accent when I'm talking about Jenny Beyer, I don't know. She doesn't have a Southern accent like that. Come on, Deb. But anyway, she's just my special Jenny. So she had a fabric sale. And guess what? It came in the mail yesterday, and I didn't even open it. And Mark said, how come you haven't opened it? I said, because I'm going to open it with my ladies. He's like, wow, you have got self-control. Yeah, sometimes. So I've got to be real careful how I open this. That's the thing. Don't come at fabric packages with razor blades and stuff. You might get a bad surprise. But here we go. And I forgot to tell him that I got $1.45 refunded because my shipping wasn't going to be quite as expensive as they thought. So, I can go back and buy more. So here is my Jenny Beyer fabric. And all of this was $5 fabric, except maybe I think one was on sale for $6.50 or $6.99, something like that. But are you ready? Jenny Beyer's. That is so cute, Miss Bonnie. Now I said this time I'm going to open it with them, and I'm so excited because it's fun. I can open this with Mark, and he's like, yeah, that's nice. That's nice. But with y'all, you understand what this excitement means, But look at this one. Isn't that gorgeous? And once in a while, she'll have one of these sales where it's like, oh my gosh, I want it all. Now, you can pretty quickly tell my favorite colors, can't you? So, and I used to love when she had her shop open. Her shop's now closed, but when she had her shop open, I used to love to go and look behind the cutting table because she tears all of her fabric. And the threads that are on the ground are just gorgeous, gorgeous. So look at I got 2 yards of this. Yay. Look at this. Oh, I know why I got 2 yards of this. Because this would make a wonderful, what do they call it? Where you cut the wedges, like 6 or 8 wedges, and you cut them all in the same area, and it makes, what is that called? It as a toy, as kids, we had a toy that, yeah, that's why I love Jenny Beyer. Her colors were just awe-inspiring. The Wacky Wedge is one thing, but Kaleidoscope. Look at y'all. Thank you. Yes, this is going to be for a Kaleidoscope quilt. And let me show you something really quick. I love this. I have made about 2 of these before, or maybe 3. I want you to see something. What you do is you take the fabric and you lay it there. You get these mirrors. And you can even take 2 square mirrors yourself and put them together with duct tape. But when you lay, let me see if I can come in a little straighter. Look at this. When you lay this mirror on the fabric, you can move it around to see what design you could make if you had enough pieces. Look at that. Isn't that awesome? That's one of the reasons I love Miss Jenny Beyer's fabric. But is that cool or what? So let's say you pick out a design. Look at that. Okay. So what you would do then is you would get a piece of tailor's chalk or an erasable marker of some sort. And you would then come in. See, I've got my little chalk marker. And you would draw a line here and a line along where the mirror is sitting. You would draw the lines so that when you moved it, here's one of the lines here. I don't really see this one good, but it would show you where you have to cut the wedges to get that design. Like, oh, look at this. Okay, let me move, whoops. But anyway, that's why when I get fabric like this, opens up the world of possibilities. So here you would just go in with your marker. This is just chalk. And you would draw, here are the wedges right here. So then you know you have to do 6 or 8 of the same exact place. But is that cool or what? So, and you just need 2 pieces of mirror taped together, or you can buy those at a sewing store. And I think they're about $15. But you can make your own with just getting 2 squares of fabric. All right, are we ready? I got the camera so close, it's kind of yellowy. Come on, lighten up. Here it goes. It's trying to lighten up. All right, are you ready? Do you take the mirrors to the shop? You could, but I just buy the fabric I know is going to give me options, and then I bring it home and just work on it. But yeah, they wouldn't mind if you took the mirrors to the shop and tried different fabrics to see if you could really get some cool things. So, but I don't know if I'd mark it in the shop. They want you to buy it first. Okay, are you ready for this one? Look at this. Isn't that wonderful? And it's more purple than it looks on the screen. It's half purple and half dark blue. Well, third purple, third dark blue, and third black. Oh, gosh, look at this one. I get so excited. It's like, I need a moment here. I'm getting gefletched. Look at this. This is purple. It's rose purple and lavender purple. So beautiful. And then I got some greens because I love, you know how I love to do my landscape quilts, and Jenny Beyer fabrics are great for it. Look at this green. Isn't that gorgeous? Picture some of this like in a fall sky. Some of it's got orange and stuff, and it could be a forest in the distance. Oh, this is so cute. I love blue. I love fabrics that have more than one color if I can do it, because it then becomes so interesting. And some of this fabric might end up on my tiger quilt as part of the jungle. You ready to see something pretty? This is the last one. Look at this. Beautiful turquoisey pale blue. So that's why I love Jenny Beyer. And at that price per yard on sale, you can't beat it. Also, were you aware? I read Jenny Beyer, she'll send you a free newsletter and each month and weekly, a little weekly sale ad and stuff once a week. But she said, and are you ready for this? You might not be aware. Hi, Donna Seguin. She said that there has been a problem with fabric supplies. So because of the COVID crisis, they've been slow to get them made and shipped. So expect the prices might be a little higher now because of that. But when the supply line catches up, I have a feeling we'll have some good sales places. So if you are a little frustrated, if you notice that certain fabrics are sold out right away, it's because they're not getting the amounts in. So, oh, Bonnie, you're so sweet welcoming everyone. Oh, thank you. Oh, you've not been able to get my patterns? Okay. If you send me an email, I wonder, I will keep sending them any way I can to make sure you get them. Let me, okay, I think I can type. Our time to quilt at twc.com. Send me an email. I will attach it. If you can't get it, send me another email and say I couldn't open it. Then I'll try to put it inside the email. But let me know, because it's so easy for me to send them to you, and I want you to have them to enjoy. Okay, Donna? So keep up with me, okay? Oh, thank you, Patricia. Patricia wants to make sure that y'all give me little thumbs up, because I would like to reach as many of an audience as possible. Okay. So, but wasn't that fabric just wonderful? I watched someone talk about something the other day, and I thought, I want to tell y'all this. I've been on a big kick to try to use up my stash and everything. But then I had someone say, just getting new fabric can start your engines and get you excited and inspired. So you have to kind of walk that line between, I want to be on a budget, but sometimes it is nice. Like for my birthday, I told Mark, I want fabric. I get 6 different fabric stores. I get their emails in and they'll highlight fabrics. Well, you remember I told you about the Missouri Star quilt and they had the pansy fabric in it? I got it. They had the stripes that sold out quickly. So I put my name on a list and they emailed and said, your fabric is in. So I sat down with Mark the other day and I said, the fabric came back in and this is really what I want for my birthday. So yay, I'm going to get that pansy fabric that I've had in the basket for a month. And the good news is their daily special was free shipping. So that just sealed the deal for me. So anyway, please talk about the quilt on the wall. Yep, that is the watermelon quilt. And it's by Jill Lily I don't know if they're patterns, designs, Jill Lily, or fabrics. Let's just say designs. And she is out in Utah. And I know if you look that up online, you'll be able to find it. If we had our superwoman Susan here, she would be able to blink. I don't know how that woman does it. I told her, take your time because you know what? If you got so much on your plate and she works full time and they're trying to do this whole land thing and she's quilt testing and all that, you just can get burnt out. I'd rather her step away for a few weeks because I don't want to lose her totally. It would be horrible to lose Miss Susan totally. So sorry that we don't have our amazing superwoman Susan here who can zip these out. But I tell you what I will do. After we do today's show, I will put the links in the little description below. Okay. And then that way, because then I can go upstairs, sit, relax, and look it up and cut and paste it in there. And so, okay. Now, we might not get to talk too much about the binding tool quilt, but I'm hoping you're working on it because I'm going to do some actual things to show you. I've got to finish the applique. See that top border? I'm working on it, but I've got to finish that before I can finish that one. But this one right here, this little sweetheart, I am going to try to finish on this series with you. And I thought about, I should make another one with you. When I used to teach a class, I would work on a quilt with them. But I tell you what, I've made 3 of these. And right now, I've got so many things on my plate. I said, no, you just can't do it, Deb. So, but what I'm going to do is get your help to help me to make a couple design decisions on this to finish. But that's Jill Lily Quilts. It's a wonderful, fun quilt. It uses, I'll make you this deal. See the green, it's green rickrack that goes around the watermelon slices. I ended up finding some in a little teeny hole in the wall shop that buys stuff when shops go on sale. I've got 20 yards of that green rickrack. So if you end up getting the pattern and you want to make that, I will sell you at cost, like a whole $1. I will sell you the rickrack. And if you just send me a self-addressed stamped envelope, I'll put the rickrack in and send it back to you. So keep that in mind if you want to make that, because I've got that rickrack on the counter. What am I going to do with 20 yards of rickrack? But I thought that if I taught this quilt one day, people would want it because it's a big rickrack. And so anyway, keep that in mind if you decide you want to make that, because it's a darling, darling quilt. And then if enough of you do decide to make it, I'll show you how to make the polymer clay little watermelon seed buttons. They were fun. Okay, so we'll get to this in just a minute, or we'll talk about it some more next week. But you take your background square and then you turn it on point, because I heard somebody was talking on point on site. And you run the binding tool shaped strips up. I don't know what I did with them now, but you run the binding tool strips up the sides of the square on point. And you put your cornerstone on the right-hand side ones, and then just, and I can show you that real quick again, I hope, right at the end of this. Oh, I have them here. I had hoped I had put them here. So I will show you that just before you leave, because some of you really said you wanted to do it. So I'll show you that. And then here are all my pieces for the piano keyboarder, but I need your advice on what to use for my inner. I think I want to do a double inner border on this one too, because I really love a double inner border. This is my other inner border. So I was thinking of taking a kind of light limeish, yellowish green to do the other inner border. So I'll show you that. Oh, yeah, that is just, I took my strawberry quilt upstairs because now it's going to be my new living room centerpiece quilt. I have a curtain rod and I got easy to pinch clips on rings, and that's my main display quilt in my living room. And I change it out seasonally. And so that's going upstairs. So, and you know what? Thank you, Kathleen. When you typed that in capitals, I was able to see it. I'm going to go back and make sure there's something I didn't miss, but I think we got it. But the capital letters do help me. So, and she's so polite. She said, thank you. Isn't that sweet? All right. Are we ready? I took a class with Bonnie Langenfeld. Really like her. And I'm going to see if I can't kind of work out something where maybe she can send me a little piece of a video, or maybe I could interview her on Zoom and show that to you. So she was a wonderful teacher. And wait till you see what we did in that one-day class. It was well worth it. Very enjoyable. She started us out with learning how to thread paint a stone wall. And I will put her website and stuff down below in the information description box. I would love for you to check her out. She even put all of her thread painting information on a smart card so you can pop it into your computer and have that. And I think she was having a sale on it. But Bonnie Langenfeld, and she is the first person who got me to drop my feed dogs. Y'all saw earlier, my feed dogs are kind of my security blanket. And to drop the feed dogs was a little scary. That was supposed to be a straight line, guys. I'm serious. That is supposed to be a straight line. But as you see, by the time I got towards the bottom, I got better and better at it. So what she had is for us to use. She likes using a product called Timtex. And so I've got Buckram here because I had it on site, but it really helps. And I used my grippy quilting gloves, and that helped because I have arthritis pretty bad, and it hurts to try to put that kind of finger pressure on the piece. But I used gray on it. She had us make up these little squares as we went along. But she got us to try the little stones and pebbles and the blocks. Then next, she said, okay, let's try to make a rock. So she had us just to cut out what we thought was a good rock shape. And then she showed us with 3 colors, light, medium, and dark, how to do what she calls a scribble stitch, which is it's with your feed dogs down 1.6 zigzag width, and you control the length, by how fast you move it. But I actually started doing it, guys. I was really tickled. I was intimidated to have the feed dogs down because then you have to feed it at the right. Hello, Diane 57. You have to be the one that feeds it in. And I was afraid I would forget and just sit there and the thread would just pile up. And you have to concentrate. So it's a whole different technique. Now, this one I didn't do as good, but I wrote notes to remind myself what I did wrong. I should have used a darker background to do the waterfall. She said, don't use blue. You always think, oh, waterfall will be blue. No, it's not. It's usually gray, brown, black, whatever the rocks are behind the water. And water is sort of mostly clear, But anyway, so I wrote the notes on the little thing to remember what to do. And she was trying to teach us to use the zigzag, but by moving the machine, moving it through the machine, then you lengthen out the zigzag. And then at the bottom, you kind of do the splash or the squiggles to show it bouncing up. So that was good practice. Then she had us take a piece of the thick stuff and put green fabric on, house fabric, and I put a sky on it too. And then she showed us how to do the grass. And And we did almost all of it. I think we did it. Some of it we did with straight stitch, but I think most of it we did with the zigzag stitch. And then she showed us how to do flowers. And we did we did lilies, and there's an iris flower right there. She showed us how to do an iris, and then delphiniums and all different kinds of things. So, and getting us to do two-tone flowers, which makes it a lot more realistic. Here is my beach scene, and she showed us. I did more sewing than you're supposed to because I really wanted to keep practicing, but she was showing us how to kind of do this large zigzag, and the closer you get to the beach fabric, the wider and taller, the looser it gets. It stays kind of close together up and then gets loosens up. And she showed us how to do that. She also showed us about how to get the wet, darker sand look at the edge by taking this fabric right here is the back of the fabric. This is the front. So it's just enough darker to look like wet sand. Then she showed us how to cut some fabric to make the waves. Where the wave rolls over, it's darker right there where the water rises up. So I never knew anything about that. She showed us how to do a straight horizontal line. You don't put waves on the horizon. You do a straight horizontal line. I'm only giving you a brief overview. I would take her class any chance you get. She takes the scary subject of thread painting and thread sketching and makes it understandable. She breaks it down to steps by steps by steps. Oh, thank you, Kathleen Ziegler. Summer Slices at Jill Lilly Design. Gosh, way to go, Kathleen. Then we did a tree. And she taught us about one thing you have to do when you're doing thread painting is really use distinct light, medium, and dark. Don't use anything that's too close together. It kind of ends up like mud. So I like how I did the shading of the tree. Then the thing I love, I didn't know how to do the leaves on the tree, and she doesn't want you to make lollipop trees. And she showed us starting with the medium, then going back and shading with some dark, and then coming last and putting some highlights. But she said, leave spaces in the tree. The green part of the tree is just thread. There's no fabric up there at all. It's just thread. And she showed us by doing the scribble stitch. Another thing I've never done before is this is a zigzag. The small branches are all zigzag stitches that I did. Only the big part is the fabric. So I was really tickled that she was teaching us how to do a more realistic and feathery light tree. I love it. So I didn't know how to do that. Now I have to apologize on the next two. We were running out of time in the class, but she had us to cut out a cone shape. And then do you see the stitching that she had us to do? You start out with the medium, then you come back in. I mean, it just doesn't look like much, but I will show you when I follow the rest of the instructions she taught me. Her pine trees were gorgeous. She even made them into Christmas cards to send to her friends a year or so back. And oh my gosh, they're gorgeous. This is just the medium color. And then you'll come in with some dark thread and kind of do like in between branches or where you can see behind the branch. And then you come in with something really pretty, a very pale to do the highlighting of the branches. And her pine trees were amazing. So if you go to her site, I'm sure you could see them. Then just real quickly, she kind of just started teaching us how to do palm trees and the shapes and what it was wonderful. I don't think I have ever produced this much out of any one-day class I've taken. And she was terrific. So she had us make these, and then she said you can always take a hole punch a hole in them, put them on a ring or tie them with ribbon, And then you have a design book that you can refer back to. And she liked when we wrote instructions and notes in the margins. What I'm going to do is to take and glue them into a book, one of my journals, and glue them into it, and and keep that as a record because I love that. So anyway, I was real happy. I was, oh gosh, yes, you could do that same stitch. It is so easy. The feed dogs down, and you just play. You just have fun. So anyway, but take one of her classes. She talks to you about all about the threads and the needles, everything she likes to do. And I was really impressed. So I like showing you what I did in the class to entice you, but I really think each person would learn so much from her. So then Friday night, they had a lecture that I signed up for and paid for, done by Susan Brubaker Knapp. And it was really interesting. These are two different artists with two different sensibilities, two different visions of their art. And so it was great to see both of them and to figure out which one that I would want to take. And I think I adore Susan Brubaker Knapp's work. But man, she doesn't do like scribble stitching and stuff. Hers is very methodical. And I'm not sure I could handle that. But she did say, I know it seems like a lot, but she usually does smaller work. And it's like, okay, maybe I could do that in a smaller piece. But oh my God, they're both of their work is amazing. Now, Miss Bonnie Langefeld takes this, puts cloth on the back and frames it, puts matting board and a frame on it, where Susan Brubaker puts hers in the layers and does some minimal quilting to make it officially a quilt. So two very different styles. It was $20 for the lecture. The lecture went on for an hour and a half. Boy, did I get my money's worth. So just keep in mind these two talented ladies. I really hope that once we can start going back out and about in the world, they'll still have some ability to do online classes because it was nice. And how many of us might not be up to actually going to the quilt shows and going to the different classes, either financially or physically, and having the class right there on your laptop in a Zoom meeting, phenomenal. So I'm going to make sure I'll let the Mancuso brothers know that I said home classes are a great idea. All right. All righty. Now it's getting a little bit late. Let me just show you this real quick. I want to show the pictures you sent me. But I've got this quilt here, and it's all pastel batiks. Because, boy, I tell you what, batiks are the star of the day. Whether it's thread painting or what, batiks give you so many options. But I kind of like this lime. That's in here. I kind of like the yellowy, because this is going to be one of my inner borders. It was going to be my only inner border. Now I'm thinking I'd like to do a two-color inner borders, two different colors. So I need your advice. So I have these choices. This is a solid, and I don't know if the solid would be okay or not. And then I have these batiks. Oh, you can always learn, because I needed to. I can teach landscapes, but the thread painting is tricky for me. I'm kind of almost thinking of this. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is going to be the other inner border, and it's a purple. It might look blue on the screen, but it's a purple. It's got some yellowy limes, kind of to brown. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Which one would you choose if you were me? Everybody's liking this one, huh? I think it would be good that, oh wow, look at that. Okay, Diane said 3. That would be this one. Yeah, this one is kind of looking, it's not what I thought when I first pulled it out of the closet. You know what? This probably would be really good. Anybody else have opinions? Oh, Bonnie meant 3. So you're thinking this one, Miss Bonnie? Okay, great. I really appreciate this because, that's the thing I miss is sewing with friends or sewing with a part of a group. Because how many times do we bounce ideas off each other? And so I think everybody says it's between these, whoops, it's between these two. And I can put these aside. Thank you, thank you. Okay, now, for anybody, I have information about the binding tool quilt, but it's only $3.95, and it's an instant download at Missouri Star Quilting. So you really want to buy the pattern because it'll give you all the information you need. And but I have got my own teaching class information, but I'm going to use, I forgot to bring the black fabric over here, so I'm going to use this. All right. So the main thing you have to remember when you cut all your pieces, and remember the binding tool, oh, what did I do with it? The binding tool is the tool that makes this whole thing easy. I don't know here it is. This binding tool ruler. And the other day, Missouri Star Quilts had it on sale for $4.25. I couldn't believe it. And at that price, I almost wanted to buy another one. And I've already got one. But this makes it easy because this is where you get the shape and size of the pieces that you're going to put in this quilt. See, you just use that to cut it out. So you start with your square. Pretend this is square. Okay. You start with your square. And whatever your background, that's your square. And then you put it on point. Let me turn it around this way so it's a little neater. I'm a messy folder. All right. So you put your square on point. You put this piece. I made this square too big now. All right. I should have at some point just cut out a piece the size of the square. But, okay. I've been busy this week, ladies. All right. So, here is your square background. And this is what makes it really easy peasy to do. Your left strips get sewn top to bottom there. Your right side strips get, oops, now I lost my little square. But your right side strips get sewn to a square, a cornerstone, okay? And so they go up this way. So you notice the cut sides are to the outside. So you sew the right side strips and this all get sewn together. And then what you find is once you put this on that piece of fabric, then look, then you come and sew this piece, and that way it covers the whole space. Do y'all understand that? Y'all understand that? Oh, yeah, please do, Kathleen. I'll be glad to get you the rickrack. Okay, so if this is already sewn together, and you take, because you're going to be cutting out, and remember last week I talked about you cut a long strip of fabric, you fold it right sides together, then you cut out your binding tool shape. That way you'll have the mirror image that you need to make this quilt. because you have to have a left side and you have to have a right side. Now, if you use batik fabrics, that's easy enough because I could turn that and use it and you'd never know. But if you use a printed fabric, you have to make sure you have mirror images. So pretend that this is already sewn together. Then you lay this along this sewn edge right here, and there you go. And then you do this 3 more times. Okay? And that way it'll give you this section. Then the pattern will show you where to sew your triangles. If I were you, before you cut the squares into triangles, please starch it and be very careful because the long edge of a triangle is your bias. And don't get it all stretched out. But this right here is the most easy, and it looks difficult, and it's satisfying quilt that you'll ever make. And as you see here, here is the background square. And then you just start. This was just this piece. This one had a cornerstone on it. This was just this piece. This had the cornerstone. And on and on. Now, you have triangles. This triangle. Here's this triangle. Just sew that. Sew this triangle. So each side triangle. Then you come down here. You have triangles here because see, let me show you. The block, this is one block right here. Crossed here. Whoops. Okay. Here's the block here and here. This is the block. And then it's just a matter of sewing the blocks together. One and another one and another one. And then where they meet, it's very, very simple. Just remember this right here is one block. Look how big that is. So it goes together so fast. All right. And then it's the same thing, except this end of the quilt, they're turned differently. Like here's your block here. It's just turned to the side. But here and here. So the block is these stripes on a square with a triangle. That's it. Isn't that the easiest thing? And it loves Scrappy. And the quilt I did back there, what I did is wanted a rainbow effect and had such fun figuring out how to place all of that. Then don't forget that I have that trick where you get all your blocks made, lay them on the ground, stand over them on a chair and take a picture of them right down. And then print it out on cardstock. Take and cut the pieces out. And that way you can sit and play with it until you like that placement. Then take another picture of it and bam, you have then got your placement and you don't have to sit there with these giant size blocks. What size block is it? Okay, I can easily answer that. I keep this measuring tape on the edge of all my surfaces. Really makes it easy. All right, so this block is a 16-inch block. Whoops. This block right here is from right here to right here. Whoops, I'm sorry. This particular one is 16 3/4. So the pattern should tell you exactly, but it's just squares and triangles and these strips. And it is wonderful. And it gives you beautiful spaces to quilt in. Makes it quite a winner. All righty. Now, let's go look at some photos about what you're doing. And I do want to tell you guys, be gentle to yourselves right now. I told Mark when we went to the plant nursery the other day, it we've kind of been in sensory deprivation. So all of a sudden, all the traffic on the road, all of the people standing around, having to write a check, all of that is a little scary. And so, you got to remember that. Be gentle with yourself. Give yourself plenty of time to rest and relax and go do something that's your happy space because getting back out into the world, got to do it in baby steps. It took us a while to get used to being home. It's going to take us a while to get used to being back to normal. And I told Mark, we're going to pick and choose what things we do. I kind of like the quiet life. So just wanted to point that out there because that's been hard for me this week. It's like too many things going on. All right, let me see. Next Saturday, I'm spending my birthday with my daughter. We're going to lay on her big couch and watch TV and eat good food and do handwork. So she'll knit and I'll do some hand. I'll probably work on that applique border. Then, okay, I showed you the Thursday night projects. We talked about the binding tool. This coming up week, I'm going to try to sew the 2 inner borders. Thank you for helping me with that color search. And then I'll show you how easy it is to make the piano key border. And it's really striking, especially if you do a scrappy quilt. All right. I'm working on Russell's quilt to take with me. And there we go. All right. Now, let's get to your photos because this is the best part. Something saw only 7 on there. Whoops, let me see. Oh, come on. Now, with the design on that quilt, that can be, a little tricky with the way the star is. If you wanted a smaller quilt, take the binding tool ruler and shrink it down accordingly. I have done that where I made a throw size. So take and make an outline of this and then cut off 1/4 inch all the way around it. Then make it smaller. You can make it, I'm trying to think of easy ways you can just have it, but then you've got to remember your square, instead of being this long, will be the new length, whatever, like that might be only this length. So do know that you can shrink the binding tool ruler down, and that's the best way to make a smaller quilt. Or if you go to Missouri Star Quilts, because they are the one where I first found the instructions for doing that, they have it so that you could just do the center star if you wanted. All right, let's go look at your photos. I'm very, very excited. Let's see. Okay, we've got Alexis's Snapdragon that I love. I think she did a wonderful job. I mean, she is really opening the floodgates of trying new techniques, and I'm so proud of her. So way to go, Miss Alexis. All right, now let's see where we're going. Next will be Miss Bees, and she said she heard me talking about UFOs, and she said it was time for her to finish this one. And I love it. And this shows the beautiful Yorkshire Dales. And look at the sheep. And she did French knots to give her sheep a nice fluffy look. But isn't that beautiful? She did some painting on the fabric. I mean, it's just lovely. And then all of her thread stitching was done by hand. So way to go, Miss B. We love it. All right. Let's see where we're going next. Miss Betty. Oh, Miss Betty has been amazing me. Besides doing this phenomenal mountain quilt, mountain meadow quilt, which also is a pattern I have for free if you want it. Just let me know, Mountain Meadow. And I mean, her flowers, look at this, they almost pop right off. And her fence, I mean, it's just beautiful. And the thread painting grasses and flowers, way to go, Miss Betty. Beautiful. And then, you remember that she did the nighttime landscape, which, I mean, could that get any prettier? Hello, it's gorgeous. All right. Now, look at what she has done. Oh, and I got a new one. Oh, poo. Let me see what happened to my new one of hers. Hold on. I want to find it. Well, I might not be able to find it quite yet, but oh, darn it. I don't know what I thought I saved it, but maybe who knows. But you know what she did? She told me today. She got a piece of black fabric. She took the pattern and transferred it to the black fabric with chalk. And then she painted all the mosaic looking bits on there. Is that the coolest thing? Mark was saying it had a pastel kind of appeal, and now we know why. And she painted that. Is that cool or what? So way to go, Miss Betty. We love it. I don't care how you get there, but you made it there in style, hon. That is phenomenal. So now it makes me want to try that. I've seen quilters do that before, and on a quilt, and did a design and then painted the different, I don't know why I ended up losing that. Okay. Oh, and I just want to show you the binding tool star that I first did, and this from start to finish, including quilting and binding, I did in 2 weeks' time. This is with my daughter now, and it's my favorite quilt of probably any I've ever done. And it is a wonderful scrappy, and I'm not a scrappy doer, but I did a yellow and a kind of teal green inner border, and then the piano key outer border. So I will guide you through that. But isn't that gorgeous? I'm not trying to brag on myself, but I just chose fabrics, and it's the quilt pattern. It's the design that causes you to just say, wow. So I love that. All right. So I just thought I would show you that real quick. Miss Bonnie. Now, I thought Miss Bonnie had something extra. I'm not sure. But here is her beautiful heart quilt. And she told me that she fused the hearts and then by hand did a blanket stitch around each heart. I'm amazed at that. That's a lot of dedication. This is one of the quilts she tested for a designer. Isn't that amazing? Love it. Love it. Okay, now let's see where we're going. Miss Charlene, and I did get something in the email from her. This is her first stained glass window quilt. Well, I think I opened it too much. Pardon me. The pollen here has been horrible. Look at this stained glass window quilt. And she hung it in front of the window so you could see how translucent it was. Beautiful. Well, she sent me, then she had done this, which I think is gorgeous. I love the height of her flowers and how you're kind of looking up at it. It is beautiful. But wait till you see her garden gate. So here is a wonderful, her own version. She's not quite done with it. I guess she'll do some kind of stems or something. But look at this. I love her sun. I love the way she did it. And see how I've got to change my picket tops because mine going up like this and back down, unfortunately, it looks like a house. Hers, is a fence. So way to go, Miss Charlene. I love her. Oh, shoot. Now I forgot what they're called. The flowers. I used to grow them. They're kind of a mallow. Oh, poo. I've forgotten. Oh, well, that word went right out of the brain. I've learned now, don't stress too much about it because I lose the words and all of that good stuff. Here is, hopefully, it's going to sharpen up. Okay, come on, camera. Oh, there we go. Here are some of the flowers I bought yesterday. I'm going to be a busy girl this week. So I've got to get all of these flowers in the ground. So cross your fingers for me. I'll need it. But Mark went with me and we got all of these yesterday. And it's a good thing we got them when we did because I'll tell you what, they're selling out. Left, right, and center, they're selling out. And then Mark, I told him, I said, there's the most beautiful hibiscus over there. I said, but it's a little too expensive and it's a braided hibiscus. And I said, I've always wanted one. He said, go get it right now. What are you going to wait till you're 95? And I know what he meant. It's like, girl, you're not getting any younger. If you want it, go get it. And I couldn't believe he wanted me to go get that. So, because I'm so frugal, I'm like, oh, I can't wait to see what that does. So I'm going to put it in a good pot so I can bring it in for the winter and so that I keep that puppy going. But anyway, I love all my plants and I'm excited to get them in the ground. And that's a lot of happiness right there. Plus, it's a good way to get me to exercise because I don't like other kinds of exercise, but I will plant things. Here are Miss Dolores's birds. I know you've seen them before, but I tell you what, they're so gorgeous. They are worth a second, third, and fourth look. Beautiful, beautiful birds. Way to go. All right, I've got to find out how her brother-in-law's doing. I certainly hope he's doing better. All right, this is an Edita Sitar circles pattern. I didn't even know there was one. Miss Diana turned it into a pillow. So watch this. Here, she was working on it, trying to decide where to put all of the different colors. So it's on her design wall. And now what is this? Oh, let me enlarge this. She has this to put her bolts of batting and large fabrics, backings on. And Marty, her husband, built it for her. If you want to build a rack like this, the easiest way I found to build it, because we can't all be Marty with his amazing skills, but if you were to get a board about 5 or 6 inches wide and cut little slots part way in at a downward angle, then you can take and put the batting or the fabric on a big dowel rod and just slip it in that cutout space. I had one of these when I worked for the museum, and it was wonderful because when you go to pull out your batting, you just roll it onto your table and you cut it. And I like how she has a dust cover for her batting. Wonderful job. Wonderful. They are so talented. They can do so much. And this was some green backing fabric she got. She went to Linda's Electric Quilter. Look at this pink moon in Texas that she had and that big, beautiful Texas sky. And here is the back of her circle quilt. Let me see if I can make it bigger so you can see it better. There's her quilting. All right. Then we have her roll of batting she got from Miss Linda's quilting. And she had such fun getting out and actually going to a shop. It has been a long time for most of us. There is that wonderful Dots pillow. Love, love, love it. Way to go. All right. And then this is good eye candy for us. Here are rows of bolts of fabric that she saw at Linda's shop the other day. Here's another one. Let me make this nice and big. Boy, I've forgotten what that looks like. I have bought all my fabric for the last year and a half online only. Oh, I miss it. I miss it. Okay. Then, oh, this was her window quilt that she did. Love it. Attic window quilt. And here she has a wonderful system that she can use to try to figure out what kind of quilt design to sew on a quilt. It's a piece of vinyl or acrylic that she lays on top of it and uses dry erase markers and colors this only on the acrylic or the vinyl. And then that way she sees if she likes it. Because you normally wouldn't use black on this quilt, but this helps her see the design well. Then she can erase it off and then she can try a different design. So I love showing you that. Oh, these were, I think, some shrimp whorls. Here's another, the greens and the blues at Linda's. Oh, we saw that one. Here's another angle of the shot. Here is a quilt she's working on, and this is what she's gotten done so far, and it's beautiful. Those are cool. Those are stars that are made with a a four patch in the center and then some short and long points. I love that. All right. Then her last one she put on the site yesterday. I love it. Let It Rain. Isn't that cute? I just love it. So thank you, Miss Diana. That's a wonderful bunch of eye candy to look at. Well, you know, Miss Jody is the most amazing silhouette quilter. I mean, it's just beautiful. And so now I'm going to show you, this is how she put her own touch on the Garden Gate quilt. Love it. Then here are her flowers. Her sun is delightful, much better than mine was. What was I thinking? And I thought you would like that. She's decided after stitching around all those flower petals that her quilt is now done. She's like me. We can't do but so much thread painting. That takes way too much time and concentration. Then Kathleen, of course, sent us a picture of her stained glass quilt that she did. Wonderful. I do like the technique of doing stained glass with a dark fabric. And here is some of Miss Linda's gorgeous artwork. Look at that. And then her spring picture right here. I hear that my sweet Mark got home safely. I tell you what, motorcycles scare me to death, but that is one thing he wanted so badly. And I said, what are we waiting for? Oh my gosh, he used the same line on me. I said, you're not getting any younger. You better get it quick. So we made sure to get him a nice motorcycle, a nice big, hopefully safe motorcycle. Okay, let's see. This is Miss Nadine's work. It's just beautiful. And I've been showing you this, but look at these couple things that she sent. She's working so hard, so stressed right now with work. So she's been coming home and painting rocks. Isn't that so sweet? I love Miss Nadine has a beautiful heart and soul. And I can't tell you how much I just love her. And look at that. Isn't that wonderful? So let me tell you, if you ever get too busy, certainly you have time to paint rocks. That's like my bead making. It's just something fun and stress reducing. So thank you for sharing that, Miss Nadine. Now we're going to go down here to our Patricia from Nova Scotia. And you know that she is a weaver. And oh my goodness, look at her weaving. Look at all of her yarn stash, her fiber stash. Just wonderful. And she also does diamond painting, which I don't know where she gets the patience. This is another diamond painting of the kitty cat. That is just too cute. And then look at this gorgeous rustic table runner that she wove. I love that. That looks like it's from a designer store. That is beautiful. And then the other day they had a great sale on Baby Lock, and she went and got a brand new sewing machine. How exciting. Oh, I love it. That's as exciting as adopting a baby. I mean, honest to goodness, that's exciting. And here is a pin cushion, big pin cushion with this around it so she can put all of her tools on her cutting table. So now everything has a place. Is that the best? Way to go, Miss Patricia. I love it. Y'all are so creative. Y'all just make me so proud. Goodness, whoops, I did it again. I accidentally cut it. We're almost done. Hold on one more minute. We're almost done. And then let me see. We know Miss Polly did a beautiful job with, she taught herself paper piecing and a New York beauty style quilt. Isn't that gorgeous? Way to go, Miss Polly. Okay, now let's see. Sandra, let me show you. But Sandra, Dama, I'm trying to remember how she told me. Hey, let me bring this up. She did a sketch and painting of what she thinks she wants to do. Isn't that beautiful? I love it. And you know, here at Our Time to Quilt, it doesn't have to be quilting. It's something that makes you happy. Any kind of art or creativity. I love it all. Both my daughters are hardcore knitters. I really wanted a quilter, but you know what? It doesn't matter unless you find a way to do something for your heart, to make your heart happy. Isn't that beautiful? And I love how the fish come up to the top of the water and she has the little rings where they've broken the top of the water. Oh, that is so pretty. So, and then look at her. Isn't that a gorgeous water lily? And the way she did the lines in it. Gorgeous. Beautiful work. Way to go, Miss Sandra. I really love it. Okay, now we're almost done. Miss Susan sent us a couple things. So we know, boy, I tell you what, she's really proving to us just how busy she is. Look at this. Isn't that cute? And it's part of a table runner. How cute. Of course, here is her farmer's wife block done by hand. Look at those beautiful hand stitches. Then here she's doing a row by row. Look at that. Way to go. Now I guess, that's really neat. I love those. And here's another one of that. Okay, I think that's, whoops, no, we're not done yet. I told you she's been busy. And here are the blocks that she's making and keeping track of. They're beautiful. And then, oh, look at this. She's got yet another one in progress. Goodness gracious, Miss Susan. Oh, it's beautiful. This is her row thing. I think she and Bonnie are doing this. Just beautiful. Wow. Okay, Susan's been busy. She wins the Busy Person of the Month award. And our Susie Blake hopefully will be back soon. But look at these wonderful little needle books she made with the embroidery on the outside. Love them. Love them. Okay. That, whoops. Why do I always hit odd buttons? But those are your wonderful pictures, your wonderful artwork for today. And thank you for sharing that with us because it is inspiring to see that much talent. And y'all are amazing. Y'all are amazing. Oh, wow. That sounds, I'm reading all of this. Isn't everybody wonderful? I love our show and tell time. I love our show and tell time. Thank you for naming it that, Miss Linda, because That's exactly what it is. I love it. And I love when you write and tell me a little bit about it so I can kind of give the background to your story. I think we are done. I've kept you a long time and I apologize. There was so much to talk about today. But I can't wait to see you next week. I understand next Sunday is Mother's Day. And I luckily will be with one daughter the day before my birthday. But Mark said, well, are you going to have a show next week for Mother's Day? And I said, yeah, because I'm going to be by myself for Mother's Day. And probably a lot of y'all will be too. If you are going to be spending the day with your family, I think it's wonderful. If not, and you have a moment to join in and say hi, we will see you then. Take good care, everybody. And like I said, you don't do Mother's Day, okay? Then we can come here and have a grand time. So we will be here next week. Thank you for coming and spending this time with me. Be very gentle to yourself. So many changes going on out there. And give yourself a lot of understanding and love. Take good care. Stay safe. Hope you get vaccinated. All right. Talk to you later, guys. You are the best. I will see some of you Thursday night, and the rest of you I'll see next Sunday. Bye-bye, everybody. Have a great week.